Диво чистая, святая, сяй від земної краси.
Last year I worked as a research fellow in the Center for Policy Studies, where I worked on, I continued looking into the issues of female employment and equality in female employment, especially in care work, and where I also had a chance to work on my pet project, a documentary about Ukrainian labor migration. It just happened that before I applied for a PhD program here in CEU, I met some people who were labor migrants in Italy and came back to Ukraine, and they wanted to organize a religious pilgrimage dedicated to labor migrants and their families. The whole experience inspired me so much, both in terms of my academic research and also in terms of my personal connection to the people, that I kept coming back to this pilgrimage every year as it grew. And basically by 2012, when I finished my PhD, it was an annual pilgrimage which consisted of over 350 people really dedicated to this event. And when I finished my PhD, I felt like, is this going to be it? Is this where I'm going to put an end to this topic? Is this where I will never come back to this topic anymore? And I felt like I really want to take something more out of it than just a PhD that will be somewhere on the shelf in the library, or maybe one day hopefully will turn into a book. And this is when I thought that the whole event of this pilgrimage is so spectacular, and it's such an interesting spot which brings together all the issues of labor migration, personal experience, religious aspects, Ukrainian state. It can be a really fascinating way of tackling this issue and reaching much wider audience. One of the main challenges of making a film about this event was probably the fact that I not only had to make a film about it, but I actually had to be a part of the whole event. As an aspiring academic, I am used to written text and verbal representation where I'm actually in control of telling the story. Here I felt that I have to tell the story through the images, and here I felt like the whole toolkit is taken out of my hands, and I'm letting go the narrative to grow into its own story, and I felt very insecure of how to try to carry the message through. Editing a film was a different level of a challenge for me, because I just found myself so much overwhelmed with the footage. At a certain moment you start understanding that you think that you're in control of the material, but in a certain moment the film starts living its own life and telling its own story. It's about this mixture of form and content, and it's about the conflict between the state and the church. It's about the contrast of being abroad and coming home, of being away from the family and returning to family who is estranged from you. And I hope that the film conveys some of the depth of all these experiences.